And welcome back in to our day 3 coverage on Radio Row here for Claves Online, brought to you all week long by Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Trican Consulting, Western Illinois University, Kevin Miller of Caldwell Banker, Gundaker, and Bootleggin Barbecue. Those are all sponsors that this next guy is very familiar with.
Kevin Miller, I think I've heard that name before.
He's been around a few times. He's sold a couple houses
Just
over
a couple.
The years. That's the H-Man.
He
Howard
did
Balzer.
a good job with my house, I have to say that. No question about it. That helped us in what we were able to do in Phoenix. So no question about that.
Look at the desert man, Howard Balzer, joining us here. Howard, last year broke a string of how many Super Bowls for you?
40. But I've asked a lot of people about that. I said, does last year break the streak?
Yeah.
And everyone has said to me, no.
I mean,
no, because it's, hardly anybody came in terms of the media. So when you have a pandemic or something like that, but whatever. This is still number 41, whether it's 41 in a row or not, doesn't really matter. Still a bunch of Super Bowls.
I know John Momola down there from Tampa. I know he was there because it was it was in Tampa. It was in his backyard.
Yeah.
So I told him earlier in the week. I go, I think you're one of the few people here that has that string still intact for the for everything. Like you're one of the few guys that still has, could still say that it's still going.
Yeah, well,
so
maybe there's an asterisk. Maybe there's an asterisk.
40 or 41 for you now?
This is 41.
Jeez, this is number 10 for me, and that added up in a hurry over the years.
And it's kind of cool because number 1 was 1980 season when the Raiders played the Eagles, and of course, our good friend Dick Vermeil was the head coach for the Eagles in that game. And so now hopefully this week on Thursday night, we will be able to absolutely say that Dick Vermeil is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So very hopeful.
So you guys are doing all that on Thursday this year.
Yes. Yeah. The NFL Honors is on Thursday.
So do you actually get a Saturday to yourself, a Super Bowl Saturday to yourself?
Yes.
We got to talk then.
Yes, because
I got things I got to hook you up for, H.
Well, and you know what? Here's the thing too, is that I was at Super Bowl Party 1 for our good friend, the agent, Lee Steinberg.
Yeah.
And went to that for years and years and years. And then when I became a Hall of Fame selector, I couldn't go to the party anymore because his party is always on Saturday afternoon. So Lee texted me about 3-4 weeks ago and said, I don't even know if he knew when we were voting on Pro Football Hall of Fame, but he just sent a text, party 1 to 5 Sony Studios on Saturday. And I texted him back. I said, I can go this year because there's no Hall of Fame selection committee. So I'm looking forward to that.
We got one for you before that, too. You're the one that's been going to Super Bowls for 41 freaking years, and somehow I'm the one that has all the connections for you.
Well, because you're you work the party scene.
Yeah,
there's no question about it.
Ben and I have got a good thing going.
Yeah, you totally do. And I'll never forget Lee's first one was in the Bay Area where he lived, and he lives in in LA area now. I think he lives Newport Beach or whatever. But anyway, his first party was at his house.
Yeah.
And the Super Bowl was at Stanford Stadium that year. And so then he's, of course, graduated to bigger and better things and has parties all over and has some pretty good venues for that.
He does. One of the things, H, that I know who are you here with now this year?
Mostly with Sports Map Radio, and been doing a show for them on weekends for a little over a year. And then they started talking to him a couple months ago and about the Super Bowl. And so they worked it out that I'm doing 4 shows this week for them, 3 hours a day, Tuesday through Friday. And also doing some work for the All Cardinals site is done through Sports Illustrated and SI.com. And so I'm doing some videos for them. They're doing a whole bunch of videos during the week that will be populated throughout a lot of their different team sites and the main site. And I'll be doing some videos for them too. So always a lot of different entities that I'm serving when I'm here at the Super Bowl.
So people still know and still associate you with St. Louis. Being here for so many years. I can't tell you how many people I've already had the first 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, that have been like, "Oh, you're from St. Louis. You must be thrilled. The Rams are in it." it just the amount of people that don't realize how bad it ended, And then you bring up the settlement that had no clue, that had no idea that it happened. The one that surprised me the most, though, I had The Miz on yesterday, WWE superstar The Miz, who's from Cleveland, Ohio, who is a huge Browns fan.
The wrestler. Yeah.
Yes.
Sports Illustrated did a video with him yesterday. He was hilarious.
And he says that to me, and I'm like, you're a Browns fan. How happy were you when the Ravens won 2 Super Bowls? He was like, oh, yeah. And he was like, we got a team back for it. Yeah, we got money that nobody knows where it is.
Right. Like, he was
like, I think I'd rather have a team. And I was
like, no question. No question about that. And it's interesting, too, because riding over in the media shuttle here from the hotel this morning, there were a couple guys talking about, man, the NFL with all these stories going on and taking away a little bit from the Super Bowl with the Washington football team and Brian Flores and all these different things. And I'm thinking to myself, and I said something to him afterwards, wasn't it interesting? Here's a game in LA, in this palace that was built because St. Louis was collateral damage and all that, and yet no one's even mentioning that. Nope. We're talking about it, and the fact that $790 million were paid in December because of how corrupt the NFL acted in that. And here we are, this is separate from that, but here we are, about 20 yards from this giant setup here on Radio Row that says FanDuel Sportsbook with the Super Bowl logo, an official partner of Super Bowl 56. Yeah. A betting entity that the NFL for years and years, if you mentioned betting or Las Vegas, would shudder in dismay and not even want to repeat the words. But now they're making money on it, so it's okay. Yep. That's the NFL in a nutshell, Joe. No question about it.
Yeah, the amount of money that FanDuel's given Pat McAfee over there too.
And talking about the Hall of Fame, Thursday night, NFL Honors is from the YouTube Theater, which is on the SoFi Stadium site. All that stuff that was done around the stadium, the theater, that's where they're having NFL Honors, and the press conference afterwards is in the NFL Network, NFL Media Building, which is also on Kroenke's site. So obviously that's what this was all about. And the sad part of it, obviously, is that St. Louis was collateral damage to it all, and no one cared. Like your wrestlers. Well, Cleveland got a team, right? Well, St. Louis should not have lost a football team because of that. If they wanted Kroenke's money here, fine. But they should have found a way, and then they would have avoided all these lawsuits. They should have or the one lawsuit. They should have found a way to keep St. Louis whole with a football team, even if it wasn't immediate. They should have done that, but they didn't care. They didn't care. It was
the options were there. And Howard, I think you and I are probably the only people here on this site that are even talking about it. All week.
No question. No question about that. I heard you talking in one of your interviews where if you hope that Kroenke's not on the podium. That's the thing. Yeah, you don't want to see. You don't want to see. He will be though, just like he was for the NFC Championship game. When, by the way, I don't know if you caught this or anybody in St. Louis caught it, when he was extolling the Rams in L.A. and how great this has been and blah, 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 blah. And he says, these have been a great 5 years. And I thought to myself, no, you don't even know how many years it is. It's been 6, Stan. It's been 6. But you know how great these years were? That Kevin Demoff then came out with a quote in the week after because the stadium was at least 50% 49ers fans and said, that showed us how much work we still have to do in this city even after 6 years, to create a fan base. And I thought to myself, and people in St. Louis probably did too if they saw that quote, wasn't that your selling point of going to Los Angeles because it was a legacy franchise and you had that built-in fan base there? Well, I guess that wasn't. I guess we can add that to the list of lies that were told by the Rams.
That's exactly what it is. And you still have the 49ers fans here, you have the Chargers fans here, you have the Raiders fans here.
Well, it's more Raiders fans than anything.
Right. It's a saturated market.
And let's remember too why one of the reasons why they didn't want the Raiders here, some of the old school owners, and it's even though it's years ago and all that was going on with the Raiders, we don't want a team associated with gangs and gang colors. There were owners who said that when the whole issue of the Raiders being in LA was brought up. Man, that's That's pretty crazy.
What kind of settlement you think they'll end up giving Brian Flores for this?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, they're going to fight that one, and in that one, he's going to have a little harder time proving it than St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis had the goods.
Yeah.
And we don't even know the half of it. You know, I've talked about it over the years, the things that I knew, but I'm sure I didn't know the half of it, the stuff that went on behind the scenes. And so does Flores have proof? I mean, it was interesting that one of his bigger claims really didn't, although he claimed it was aside from racial discrimination, the claim about tanking to get a high draft pick, which of course speaks to the integrity of the game and that there's now legal betting. But does he have proof of that? Now, it was interesting, Joe, that NFL Network had a report by Cameron Wolf that was then written on the website, which is amazing that they even let it on, that he spoke to someone who witnessed that offer, or whatever you want to call it, to Brian Flores. And then within a week, it was taken down from NFL.com.
Scrub.
It's amazing they even put it on to begin with. Yeah. But you know what? But the one thing that I think of, is Stephen Ross that stupid that even if he was going to make an offer like that to Brian Flores, that he would make it with someone else being able to hear it?
Right.
In the presence of someone? That even speaks to more ridiculousness if that is true. But he's gonna have to be able to prove a lot of the things he's claiming, and that might not be as easy to do. But then again, they might do something to make it go away, and we'll see what happens.
What do you think of the setup that we have here, just and all on radio?
Yeah, it's when I walked in the first time, I said, "Wow, this is about the biggest area." Yeah. That I've ever seen. I mean, how many times have we seen it where the tables are so close together you can hardly even walk?
Or the Mall of America.
Between the Mall of America, where the food court. There was the one. Were you in New York?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that one was the worst.
I was in the way back. I was in the way back for that, and then it was about Thursday when Ben showed up, and Ben was like, "Oh, we should have used the KMOX table all week." It was like the fourth one as soon as you walked in, and I was like, "I'm not moving all of this stuff."
but this, with as spread out as it is, it's a pretty good setup in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, this convention center is vast. I mean, it was almost a half-mile walk just to get your credential.
Oh God, yeah, I know. But walking in and out, it's just fine. But don't go in the green room.
No, of course not. Of course not. Don't want to go there.
We got the email on that to avoid the green room at all costs. That's not for us. I don't know. Maybe you. H, you could probably get away with going into the green room. Well, hey, have best of luck on Thursday night with all of your voting, and I'm looking forward to what we're going to get into then on Saturday for the first time.
Yeah, go Bengals.
That's absolutely go Bengals.
Well, do you remember the game real quick? Do you remember the game in '99 when the Rams played the Bengals in the fourth game of the season?
No.
That was, of course, the greatest show on turf here. And I've always remembered that game because when the Rams entered the 99 season and the Bengals, the Rams were the losingest team in the entire decade of the 90s. They had only won 45 games. The Bengals had won 48. So they were a little bit better than the Rams. Well, of course, the Rams won their first 3 games of the season. The Bengals lost their 3. So when they played, they were tied with 48 wins in the decade. And the Rams won that game 38-10. Kurt Warner threw 3 touchdown passes. And one of our favorite Rams, Az-Zahir Hakim, was the star with 3 touchdown receptions and an 84-yard punt return for a touchdown. And so after that, of course, we know the Rams went on to win 13 games. The Bengals won their normal 4. And so the Bengals owned, at the end of that, the losingest team in the NFL in a decade. And the Rams escaped last place. So here they are playing again, and we'll see if the Bengals can turn the tables maybe a little bit.
He is Howard Balzer, and it's a pleasure to have him on during Super Bowl week. It's been odd since I've been able to myself this week, H. As you're somewhere else on Radio Row doing your own thing. And I was texting. I texted Ben yesterday, and I was like, I'm all by myself, and I was like, it's so lonely here at this table. I was like, I don't have any friends here yet. And as soon as I did, I look up and I see you about 3 tables away walking towards me, and I was like,
"Yep, there we go. There we go."
Hey, Hey, we will come back here. We'll be live all day. We got interviews going on all day long here on Claves Online. So keep an eye out on all our social media accounts. See who we have coming up next right here on Claves Online.
At Western Illinois University, limits are meant to be pushed. Because the best change happens when people think in new and unexpected ways. At WIU, you'll experience a world where your presence matters, where your ideas take flight, and your determination opens the door to possibility. At WIU, we create a world that's brand new.